What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks. And we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks. Cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know the other day, well not the other day, basically Sunday, the day of the All-Star game, it was announced that Blake Griffin is officially signing with or expected to sign with the Brooklyn Nets, right? If you know that he's basically was playing this season with the Detroit Pistons, and then obviously, he's battling the position with Jeremy Grant, and when they battle the position with Jeremy Grant, obviously they're going to go younger. They're not winning. Blake doesn't want to be in a situation where it's like, what am I really doing? I'm going to waste the last ends of my prime, right? Because he's only 31. I'm going to waste the last ends of my prime playing for a lottery team. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not that's not it. So he's going to obviously buy himself out and, become a free agent. And that's what he did. They reached an agreement and he bought himself out, became a free agent again, unrestricted. And, he was expected to sign with maybe the Lakers. The Nets were probably the top suitors, and then he signed with the Nets. Obviously, that's his best case for him to win. Not only that, he fits the exact play style that the Nets would want. And a lot of people are bashing, no, not necessarily bashing, but yes, they are bashing Blake, saying he's trash, he's fugazi, look at what he's done the last 2 seasons, this and that. And I'm going to give context, obviously, about that and just give context about what I think, and is this a great decision or a great move, addition, or not for the Nets, right? But just in general, again, he, bought himself out and, he's signing with the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll go into that context because I gave you that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. So like I said, he bought himself out, Blake Griffin, and, there's a lot of narratives and a lot of things I got to debunk in terms of just the Nets themselves and why they're going for Blake Griffin. Because, again, a lot of people are saying, oh, the Nets, they need a center. DeAndre Jordan doesn't cut it. They need a center. Like basically a Rudy Gobert, Andre Drummond type of center where it's like that one-dimensional play defense, rim protect, and, get rebounds type of center, because that's what they're saying they lack. And I'm like, people just, it's like they project, obviously, because, again, there's a hidden agenda or just a subconscious feeling of they're not going to win. They need this, right? Because obviously they've been like, if you paid attention, the Brooklyn Nets have beat every single elite team. The Jazz, Philly, you know what I'm saying? Who else? The Milwaukee. You can name any single elite team, the Lakers, the Clippers, right? Phoenix, like I said, the Jazz. Who else? Every elite team they beat. The Heat, like they beat every single elite team, right? And obviously the Heat was different because they didn't have, they didn't have their full lineup and stuff like that. And the Nets are even beating these teams without the trio. The trio's only played what is it, 7 games or 5-2 or something like that? So they're beat even without KD. They're going on an 8-game winning streak, right? They're winning nonstop. With the lineup that they had, people saying they need a big and they need this and they need that. With injuries even to Jeff Green, with injuries like they've been banged up, COVID, all that type of stuff, and still they're winning. Even with people saying they need defense, they need that, and they're still winning. Second in the East, bare win streaks. So, what do they really need? Because you're watching them kill people without even KD fully there. So imagine when KD's fully there, what do you think is going to happen? Easily beating people too. This is not like, oh, every game's clutch game. Easily beating people since they said, you know what? They're capping. We're going to lock in on defense. Easily beating people. Easily. So, and that's without y'all saying they don't have no defense. They don't have no rim protector. They don't have, it's just cap. So I'm a debunk a lot of things that people are saying, and a lot of people are projecting things because the way their minds, you understand, the way people think, that people have an idea of what defense is, people have an idea of what rim protection is. And then if you don't have it based off how this team looks, then they say you don't have it. And that's cap. That's why I try to tell people, the Nets are top in blocks, right? They're top 4 or 5, whatever it is, in blocks. but yet they don't have defense. They don't have rim protection, right? Yet the Lakers, who they say is the number one defensive rated team and allows the fewest amount of points, yet they're not far off with the Nets in how much field goal percentage they allow, the 3-point, all of that type of stuff. They're not far off from them. They're in the same ballpark. The blocks, they're in the same ballpark. You know what I'm saying? The defensive rebounds, they're in the same ballpark. So what are y'all talking about? Y'all are just literally just capping. Now what they're saying is true to a certain extent in moments, yes. But overall, what they're saying is cap. And I tried to debunk that from time before they even went on the winning streak. I tried to tell y'all. And then now they go on the winning streak. They do all these things. They don't even talk about the Nets like they will talk about the Nets. If the Lakers were on a winning streak like that, you already know how they will talk about them. The two teams they try not to talk about is like the Clippers and the Nets. They don't ever want to put stock in and talk about them OD because they know what it is. It's fair, obviously. So besides that, anyways, what I try to tell people, if you look how the Nets play, so this is why I say people don't look at things in context and people don't look at things in the full grand scheme of things. They just look at on paper or media narratives and stuff like that, and they take away from what actually transpires and actually looking at the eye test, looking at what's actually happening on the actual basketball floor. Then when you see that, you can see that there's different schemes, there's different things. So this acquisition makes more sense for this type of team because the play style and the defensive schemes that they run. So let me go and elaborate more into that, in depth with that. The Jazz and the teams that have like Rudy Gobert, right? AD with the Lakers, and other teams just in general. Their defensive anchor, right? They're got even Miles Turner. They're guys like that. When you have a shot blocker at that magnitude, you don't necessarily do a switch everything type of defense. Sometimes if you're forced, let's say they're running a pick and roll and the way the guy is trailing, it's hard for, let's say, Caldwell Pope to fight over and get back to the screen. He's kind of stuck. Then in those situations, and that guy keeps going laterally the other way, right? Or horizontally the other way. He keeps going, right? Forcing the switch. That's when you'll see now the big AD, mano a mano switched, right? Or Rudy Gobert, mano a mano switched on someone or something like that, right? Or even Miles Turner. But most of those times, because they have a rim protector, they want that rim protector to be in the paint at all times. So what they do, their scheme defensively isn't a scheme where they switch everything. Their scheme is that guy will hedge quickly, he'll kind of hedge, and then retreat back to the roller or whatever the case is. They don't really fully switch. That only when you play like a team like Jokic, that guy is popping, where you're now forced to switch because he's popping. And even then, they don't fully like to switch. If you actually just look at the schemes of the teams defensively, they want that anchor or that big to basically be around the rim at all times, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, those are the teams that would need a rim protector like, you know, Rudy Gobert, this person. That's why you see Lakers going for Hassan Whiteside, etc. because of how their defensive schemes are. Their rim protector most of the time is at the rim. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way their schemes, they play defense around that. The Nets don't do that. There's other teams that don't do that. Even perfect examples like the Nuggets. You think, so how come no one has ever said, because Jokic is not a rim protector. How come no one has ever said, oh, the Nuggets need a rim protector in Jokic? They went with Jokic, went to the conference finals. They went to the conference finals last year in the bubble with Jokic. With no rim protector like y'all say. So what are y'all saying? So the Nuggets are fugazi? The Nuggets, oh my God, it's impossible? Y'all see Golden State win rings without a solid shot blocker blocking 3-4 shots a game. They have Draymond playing the 5 bare times, especially their closing lineup. They have Draymond. That's the rim protector. It's called positioning. It's called altering shots. It's called switch ability to switch everything. So when you're switching everything, you don't necessarily have a rim protector, you know, just sitting there. You have rotational defense and perimeter lockup. You're big, who's Draymond, could lock up on the perimeter and could also have girth, position, hands up, verticality in the paint as well, and create havoc. So it's team defense mixed with switchability, mixed with multiple versatile type of defenders. That's how they've been winning rings, not with a clean rim protector, Rudy Gobert shot blocking, Miles Turner shot blocking. So what people say is cap. It's called the defensive schemes of different teams. So what I mean by that, with the Nets, and this is going to translate to getting Blake Griffin and how I think about it, because when you look at it, the Nets, they switch everything. They have a switch everything defense, which is why their defense and the teams that are facing them in terms of scoring and everything like that get halted a lot of times because, and even you see the Clippers, perfect example, you see the Clippers not run their offense because what happens when we switch everything, in your mind, it creates, oh my goodness, let's attack this mismatch. Oh my goodness, let's attack this. Let's attack that. And they're still in help side and they're helping in situations. So if you switch everything, now Kyrie is on Kawhi. Let's go to Kawhi. So you're forced to go into more ISO than you would think. This is exactly the blueprint that Houston literally created and Cleveland literally created when they were facing Golden State, because Golden State was a ball movement type of team. And what happens is, to cancel the ball movement, you switch everything aggressively. Doesn't matter where that, you switch everything. Even if a big has to be on Curry, you switch everything. So what you're doing is you're forcing ISO and you're taking away the ball movement. Yes, some plays when you have the ISO ability, it's like, okay, you might lose that matchup. You know what I mean? But if they're running that every single time, one, their tempo is slowed down. Two, you're not going to always be successful running that, especially when you don't have when you have Curry ISOing all day, every day. That's not his game. He doesn't just ISO you and kill you and get 10 straight buckets off ISO. No, that's not his game. Klay doesn't just get 10 straight buckets off ISO. No, they're potent and won 73 games because of the ball movement and the offensive system. So now when you force them to just ISO, it's different from what they know. And yes, 1-2 play, it might work. But when you force them to do that every single play, it's a problem, which is why they said, you know what, we need KD. Because that guy is the ISO guy where it's like every play he could score 30 off ISO. And that's why they went after him. That's why they lost. They literally lost the finals not because of, oh my God, Draymond got suspended. Yes, that's part of it. Yes, Eagle got injured and whatever the case is, and Bogut and whatever. That's part of it. But mainly it came down to force them to ISO. Switch everything ISO. So you're taking them out of their offense. This is why you see the Clippers, oh my God, why are the Clippers looking fugazi and whatever, and looking fugazi like that when they're facing the Nets? Because they're forced to ISO. You force LeBron, you force the Lakers to ISO. And it's not, you're canceling ball movement, you're canceling picks, you're canceling everything. And people don't look, that's the scheme. So the scheme that the Nets are running, even you'll see DeAndre Jordan bare times just guarding a perimeter player. They literally switch everything. And then only when it's halted, they'll switch it back and they'll be like, okay, Kyrie go to the corner. They'll switch it back. They switch everything. So when you do that, you're forcing the team to just ISO against you. You don't need a rim protector in that defensive scheme because it's rim protection by committee. That's what it is. That's why they lead their top 4, top 5, whatever it is. I haven't checked recently, but they should still be there. They're top defensively in blocks without even having a rim protector. Because they even harder will get blocks. Like your help side defending, your team rebounding, all that type of stuff. You're not having a rim protector like that because that rim protector is actually going to be on the perimeter bare at times anyways. It's switchability defensively. That's what they do. Force you to ISO, and you're going to match up with us. That's why the Nets become unguardable because they don't just ISO. They have ball movement. They have screens for Joe Harris. They have screens for all these type of guys. Shaman. They run off-ball screens for Kyrie, off-ball screens for KD. And then when you force them to ISO and you switch everything, we can kill off the ISO anyways. James Harden's going to blow by you. Now throw the alley to DeAndre Jordan. Blow by you. Now you have to double, or he's doing a step back. You double. Bruce Brown rolls. They literally have, sometimes if you watch them, they actually have 2 guys who can't shoot. Bruce Brown and DeAndre Jordan. One's on the free throw line high elbow. One's on the block, and yet they're still scoring at ease with 2 guys that can't shoot. Why? Because the potent offense that Kyrie, even without KD, Kyrie, Joe Harris, and Harden possess how they score is so different that they don't even need bare spacing. They don't. That's why I'm saying this Nets team is literally unguardable because they can score in every situation. They can score with no space. They can score with 2 guys who can't shoot on the floor. They can score with all space, with all guys that can shoot on the floor. They can score in all scenarios because how they score is potent. They don't score one-dimensional. Even Harden, he will hit you with a floater. He'll hit you with the step back. That step back alone, that's unguardable. It's like, God damn. So now you're forced. Now when the pick comes, and if it doesn't work, step back. The pick comes, he can split, throw the floater. If the pick comes, he could roll, hit the alley. Now there's no pick. He can even just kill you without the pick off the fake step back. Now blow by. Now the other big has to help throw the alley to DeAndre. He's just sitting on the block. He's just sitting there. Doesn't even move. Pick comes with Bruce Brown. Even DeAndre's on the block. You have Bruce Brown set the pick. He slips, hit him at free throw line. Then he hits a floater, right? And if he doesn't hit the floater, the guy steps up, now he throws the alley to DeAndre. You have two guys who can't shoot sitting there. Joe Harris comes off the curl screen off DeAndre. He doesn't just catch and shoot. He can curl off the catch and shoot, pump fake, one dribble pull up. Like, he could score in multiple ways as well too. And he's like the Clay of the team. Then you have Kyrie who could do, you already know. So like, you have multiple guys who could score in all different ways that it doesn't matter who they have on the floor. You get what I'm saying? So it just shows you that it's completely different. It's completely different. That's why their offense is potent, because they can score with movement. They can score with ISO. You've never seen a team that could literally click all like that. The only team that could do that was Golden State when they added KD. It's funny how KD is the common denominator, right? So when you look at it, when they had KD, that's why you've seen clips of Steve Kerr even telling KD, yo, what are you doing? Like, stop. You're just ISOing, get the ball moving, because what happens? Houston is forcing them to ISO. And he's like, my world, kill. And that's why that team became different. But anyways, basically, that's the scheme that the Nets run. So when you look at it, they're big that they get. They already have a DeAndre Jordan one-dimensional type of big. If you don't want a big, your other big can't be like DeAndre Jordan. Your other big, so if they get Drummond, they're going to have two Drummonds and DeAndre, which is what they had with Allen and Allen and DeAndre. So it's kind of like, it's a clash. It's the same thing. You want to have versatility. Because if you have a DeAndre and Drummond, and they're both the same, so it's like Allen and DeAndre. Now, when you want to run a different play style, and let's say you want to put Jeff Green at the center or KD at the center, you're going to have to run a smaller ball type of unit where you're not even using those two bigs anyways. So why would I have two of the same bigs? If anything, let me get one of opposite bigs. That's why they said Blake Griffin is going to be the small ball center. The small ball center. They switch everything already. You've seen, even with Jeff Green, you've seen how potent it is as a small ball center. Jeff Green's at the 5. He picks. He sometimes he rolls, but a lot of the times he picks, he pops. Now you give freedom for James Harden ball handling. Like, you try to double, it's kick out. You don't double, floater or Euro. Like, it's just easy. Do you have different play styles? Then when DeAndre's there, then you could throw the alleys, and you try to double, you throw the alleys, you hit the corner, you hit the split. Like, it's so potent. And their defense, it doesn't matter if you have a rim protector or not. Like I said, they're switching everything. So bare times, the rim protector is on the corner. All it is it's called team defense. That's what they do. Rotate, team defense, lock up, cut off. They're helping, play the angles, play the gaps. You know, Harden's poking. They don't even go for blocks bare times. They'll go for strips. Harden will strip you on your way up. Like, that's how they play aggressive defense for them. How they play defense is different how the other teams play defense. So now when we translate and we segue to Blake Griffin himself, under these guidelines, under these circumstances, why would he not be a solid addition? He's actually going to be a bigger addition than what people think. The reason why is because people are looking at Blake. This is why I say situations are everything is situational. A player could look like this in this situation and then look like this in this situation. Blake Griffin was supposed to be the number 1, number 2 option of Detroit, right? If you look at his last 2 years, and he only played 38 games. Is it 38? Yeah. He only played 38 games. 18 in 2019-20. And then this year, he's only played 20. So he's only played 38 games in the last 2 years. So his points per game hasn't been the greatest. His shooting has been fugazi, and he hasn't dunked in 2 years. It's funny. Mans, when he was dunking, was saying he needs to have better arsenal and better ability. And now when he's doing better arsenal and better ability, oh my God, he hasn't dunked. So y'all are trying to tell me that because a guy dunks means he's elite? So Jokic, who dunks once in a blue moon, he's not elite? He's only, like, you have to dunk? For people even to mention the fact that he hasn't dunked, is like, it's crazy. It's like, that's what y'all focus on. Y'all create the most fugazi narrative. So he's not elite because he hasn't dunked? If you want to say his percentages are bad and whatever, then say that. But for them to actually just focus on the fact that he hasn't dunked in 2 years, so that's why he's a shell of himself, it's laughable. It's very funny. It's very funny to me because dunking does not, especially in this era, like, how many times does Luka dunk? How many times does Jokic dunk? Like I said, dunking does not mean shit. It's 2 points. If anything, the fact that you don't dunk and you're still able to score should even be a benefit, not a negative. Does that even make sense? Like, anyways, we passed that. But what I'm saying is, if you look at Blake Griffin's ability, one, his passing is high. He's more so, like, he would literally be like a Jokic off the bench in this play style. That's what his small ball center is going to be. Because you already know Jokic is like 6'10", maybe 6'11" at most. You know what I'm saying? He could play make. He could shoot. When you switch and he has a mismatch, he'll kill off the mismatch. You get what I'm saying? And if you look at Jokic only this year started shooting 40%. Before that, he was shooting like maybe 35s, stuff like that. And that's what Blake Griffin is shooting. This year, his 3-point percentage is hella fugazi 31. But when his main year, when he played 75 games, which was 3 years ago, 2018-19, right? 2 years, 3 years, right? He averaged 25 points that year, 46% from the field, 36% from the three. That was his ability year where you're seeing Arsenal, you're seeing step back threes, you're seeing pick and pop threes, you're seeing him ISO with the ball handling, sidestep threes, like you're seeing all of that, right? As well as going into the paint. If he has a baby on him, he's just too tall, gonna turn around and use his strength and all of that to, do his layups, his up and under layups and all that type of stuff. So why can't he do that? Why can't he do that in this play style? If Jeff Green is already elite in this play style, pick, roll, pop. And then on the occasion, get it, blow by, and still punch with athleticism. That's the same play style you're going to get from Blake Griffin. And he doesn't even have to punch. Now you put Jeff Green even at the 4, so Jeff Green now can be a perimeter defender. He could guard the 4, he could guard the 3, especially off the bench. So you're going to have multiple, there's now more versatility when you add Blake Griffin there. And if he's just the small ball center, he's basically going to be playing like the Ibaka role. Blake Griffin could definitely play the Ibaka role that he played in Toronto. Come off the bench, right? Obviously, he'll be motivated, so he would play better rim protection at times. But even then, he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. All you need to do is have great positioning, contest, and you're good. You don't have to block shots to play good defense. How many block shots do you actually get in a game? A team that gets 6 blocks per game is actually top 4 in blocks. 6 blocks, only 6. How many shot attempts are attempted in a game? You got teams taking almost 100, and only 6 of those are blocked. So what's the ratio? What's the percentage of shots that get blocked in an NBA game? The ratio is small. So you don't have to block the shots to rim protect. It's about altering shots. It's about having great position, you know what I'm saying? Taking a charge when needed, having verticality, altering shots. That's what being a rim protector entails, and just having great paint defense, entails. If Jokic can do that, Blake Griffin can definitely do that. When you're switching everything. It's just team defense. It's not it's funny, man. People don't pay attention to the schemes. People don't pay attention to this team plays different than this team. If Blake Griffin went to the Jazz, right? Or something like that. And it's like, oh my God, you need a rim protector, then you sign Blake Griffin. That would be a problem. Because how they rim protect is completely different. Blake Griffin is going to the Nets. Jeff Green was currently playing the small ball center role. Now you add 2 inches, because Jeff Green is 6'8". You add 2 inches in Blake Griffin. You know what I'm saying? And Jeff Green was not blocking shots, and yet he was still doing a good job. It's about switchability. You know what I mean? It's like switchability. The guy, now you have to just have timely help. KD's going to be there, you know what I'm saying? Timely help, timely, block shots, tip it, whatever the case is, timely contest. Now, okay, they have a baby, we switch. Then now you just do the double thing, make them swing, get to the corner in time. And it's timely rotational defense, timely doubles, timely, leave your guy, go help contest or strip in the paint. Team defense, that's what it is. When you switch everything, it's about team defense and great initial contact cutoff defense. That's what they need, and that's what they've been doing, and that's why they've been blowing out teams, because you already know their offense is never a problem, ever. So when you look at it from that perspective, come on now, this is a great addition. The Blake Griffin you've seen in the Detroit when they're making him the number 1 option, and he doesn't even have to be the number 1 option. He's literally not for the 1 option, not the 2 option, not the 3 option, not the 4 option, because they go to Joe Harris a lot, especially with the bench unit off the curls and stuff like that. He's going to be there. Imagine Blake Griffin and Harden in the pick and roll, because remember, you got to look at the staggering of minutes too. People don't pay attention to a lot of these things. Harden starts the 2nd and the 4th quarter with the bench. He comes out early in the 1st and the 2nd. Kyrie and KD will end the quarter, and then he starts the 2nd and he starts the 4th. And he's always playing with the bench unit. So it's mainly him, Harden, Joe Harris, Shamet, Jeff Green. Bruce doesn't really play sometimes. They'll probably put either Bruce or it'll be what's it called? It'll be TLC, right? It'll be TLC most of the times, or Cephalosha, Roberson. That's what they'll do. and it's a small ball lineup. Right? If Jeff Green is starting because of the matchup, right? Let's say they're facing who do they face who basically plays perimeter based? Like they're facing like Houston or something like that, right? They're facing the Clippers, Ibaka starting, so you don't need DeAndre. You want to have Jeff Green, a small ball center, right? They're facing the Clippers, then DeAndre will come off the bench, right? And then that's when he will be in with Harden. So that's how they kind of play. So when you look at it, it's going to be Blake. Blake's either going to be the starting center based off who they play, or he's going to be the backup center. So he's going to play the Jeff Green role. Now Jeff Green will play the 4, right? And he'll be spotting up whatever the case is. And like they'll play like that. So you're going to have Blake Griffin and Harden in a pick and roll. Blake Griffin is popping. Or if they switch, Blake Griffin can go to the post. Now you have a guy who can actually post up off the mismatches. That's an addition. They didn't have that. Jeff Green didn't really post up off mismatches. He did here and there, but he didn't really. DeAndre didn't post off the mismatches. You know what I mean? DeAndre would just stay on the block, and then now the mismatch will always be Harden. Harden will always have the mismatch. Now Harden has a mismatch, and it's like, go to Blake in the post. Drop step, layup. Easy. You know what I mean? It creates more havoc on offense. So I expect this to be a great addition. I think it's gonna do more damage than y'all think. You know what I'm saying? And now they're already winning with what they have. Now you add that. And people are saying, who's going to guard Embiid? Who's going to, so DeAndre can't guard Embiid? Have y'all not been watching? DeAndre didn't guard Rudy Gobert. Obviously Rudy Gobert's not a straight center like that, obviously. DeAndre didn't guard those centers that are trying to go to work. DeAndre didn't do that. DeAndre's not there no more. DeAndre struggles with pick and roll defense with contesting and dropping back. But when we're talking about just guarding the paint, just guarding the whoever is just trying to go to work, DeAndre been doing that. DeAndre been there. You acting like DeAndre didn't face Philly? They didn't beat Philly with DeAndre there? Like, come on now, y'all. Y'all are tripping. It's funny, man. They keep creating these narratives, and it is funny, man. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see. It's funny, at the end of the day, Blake Griffin has Arsenal, and on top of that, he is a great passer for a big. That's why I said he's actually going to look like his play style is going to look more so like Jokic. You see when Murray and Jokic are doing the pick and roll, that's going to be Harden and Blake Griffin pick and roll. Obviously, Murray pulls up mid-range and whatever. It's going to look similar but different at the same time because Murray will come off the gap like, you know what I'm saying? Like a Kyrie Blake pick and roll will look more so like Murray and Jokic pick and roll because Blake will get it at the free throw line and he could hit a cutter. He could hit Joe Harris coming off a screen. He could fake handoff, kill, and go layup or punch. I mean, he hasn't punched in 2 years. Even if he does a high layup, whatever the case is, like he can play make. He has ball handling. Like he's gonna look more like a Jokic with the bench unit. You know what I'm saying? And if he does well, maybe he ends up being a starting 5. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how it pans out. I think that is gonna be way better than what people think. Now, it's not something where it's like, oh my God, like this is like, it's like a complete super team when you look at it, because obviously he has to redeem himself. He hasn't played meaningful minutes in so long, right? I kind of look at Blake. I'm not even looking at Blake from these last 2 years. I'm looking at Blake from his All-Star year, like I showed y'all, where he's averaging 25 and doing what he was doing then. I'm looking at that. Blake Griffin. And, that's what I kind of, not those numbers, but I see that Arsenal, that ability. Ability in Arsenal trumps everything. You know what I'm saying? When you're playing a role that you need to play, which is coming off the bench, he's going to look like Jokic. He's going to look like a poor man's Jokic. That's what he's going to look like. And that's a great addition for the bench. Because now you have Harden and Blake off the bench. You know what I mean? Because Harden obviously starts, but he's playing with the bench. So when you look at it, it's funny, man. It's funny how people just write it off and people don't look at things with a trained eye. It's hard. I guess it's hard for people to kind of foresee how something is going to transpire because they basically look at what he has been and just drop that in the nets. They can't see that, okay, when you take this player with this ability, how is he going to mesh with this new team and this new role and this, it's like they can't foresee how things are going to transpire before it actually happens based off what you're told to look at. They only see how he's been. Oh my God, you put him there. That's trash. It's funny, man. Anyways, you already know it's True Talks, because True Talks, share, like, and subscribe. You're going to see, like I said, just picture small doses of Jokic. Picture that, and that's how Blake's going to look. Even defensively. If you're actually taking Jokic's defense, it's not elite defense. He's not an elite defender, but does that matter for them? Does that matter for them? He just has to have good positioning at times. and play somewhat of a Gasol defense. Even Gasol was considered a great defender. Not considered, was a great defender. Not now, but was a great defender. You seen how we bodied up Embiid and was the kryptonite for Embiid and all that type of stuff. He's a great defender. And did Gasol get bare blocks? I don't even think he averaged even a block per game. But yet, he's considered a great defender. Position, verticality, and Gasol didn't even jump verticality. He's so tall that he would just go like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to understand that there's multiple ways to defend. There's multiple ways to have great defense. The main great defense that matters, and if you look at Rudy Gobert does not have elite one-on-one defense. You've seen how Embiid destroys him. You know what I'm saying? You've seen how Rudy Gobert has great help side block defense. Most guys who get blocks and are defensive player of the years, they're not even playing great one-on-one defense. They're playing great help side block highlight type of defense. And those are the defense that matches with the numbers. And he would alter shots off the help side. But when you put it to him in the post, mano-a-mano. Same thing, even Dwight Howard those years, he was winning defensive player of the year. Chris Bosh would food in mano-a-mano all the time. Those guys don't have elite one-on-one defense. Their one-on-one defense is actually below average or just average. They get fooded one-on-one because they don't have great position. They don't slide their feet well. They have great help side defense. I'm guarding this guy over here. They roll. Now I got to run protect off the help. That's great defense that they have. So that's what you see on highlights. That's what you see on numbers. That's what you see on altered shots. But if you have a guy just go to him on the post mano-a-mano, they're getting fried for 40. That's what happens. Pay attention. So there's so much context into so many different things. You can't just say things outlandishly and then think that it applies to everything. Like, you got to actually, this game is a deep level thinking type of game, basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to actually go into context with everything. You have to apply context into everything. And when you do that, you'll see the game with a trained eye, and you'll see the game and understand, okay, this is reality and this is real. This is smoke and mirrors. This is pump fake. This is only highlight looks right, or stats wise looks right. But when you watch the game, the thing with the reality and with the context always will ooze out to you in your eye, and we'll see it if you have a trained eye. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm here to help get every man to have a trained eye. You know what I'm saying? And anyways, I appreciate y'all. Like I said, share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. The games start officially Wednesday, and Thursday they come back. You know what I'm saying? So we're just waiting until then. We'll still continue to talk. There's multiple things to talk about as well. But I appreciate y'all, man. Enjoy this little 1-2 break. We resume tomorrow with the games resume tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So enjoy now. Catch up on those shows now that you can. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And we out, man.